you date someone who's serving life in prison? That's a question I had to ask myself this week because I
thought you were supposed to not be dating guys.
Wait a second. I was like, maybe this is the exception. If I can't physically see them, I can write to them in prison.
Hey, Bert, if there's glass in between them, it should count.
Still a relationship, for sure.
You should at least let her have that one. That's how damn bad she is.
The bar is low. The bar is in prison,
No,
apparently.
because then she's picking up the phone and they're talking on the phone through the glass also. So it's a full-blown relationship.
But what if he writes to me first?
Still, no loopholes here. No prison loopholes.
So I was doing an interview for my podcast last week, and the episode that dropped this week is about a completely unrelated story that's actually really devastating. It's a story about domestic violence. But I was asking her, I was like, so how have you evolved from this? How has dating been after this horrible experience that you just had? And she said, well, I just broke up with my boyfriend who's serving life in prison. And I was like, hold up, let's not bury the lead. So we should have started with this. I was like, it is the breakup breakdown. Hello. So I asked her, I was like, okay, so how did you meet this guy? Like, why did you date him? He's serving life in prison. Like, you're never going to see this man again. And she goes, well, I have, a lot of trauma from, the previous relationships. And to me, this felt safe. Like he's literally in prison. He's not going anywhere. But what I found so ironic was that they ended up breaking up because she started having suspicions that he was having conversations with other women. I was like, even when they're locked up, they're going to be unfaithful. And I was like, did you find proof? And she goes, no, I was just so paranoid. And that really made me so sad for her. So they ended up parting ways because they couldn't handle she couldn't handle thinking that he had other girls, I guess, outside of the prison walls. And I asked her, I was like, well, it didn't bother you at all that he was serving life in prison? And she told me that she doesn't have physical desires towards other people, so she could do without that. And she, to an extent, felt like she would feel more secure with somebody where she knew where they would be at all times, Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you're having correspondence with other women, you kind of know what they're up to.
But life in prison, did she disclose what gave him that sentence?
Yes. So it's felony murder, but he did.
Is that all? What else?
Wait, let me explain.
There's a but after felony murder?
Felony murder, but hang on.
Did he jaywalk?
I don't think he was the person that killed the person. So felony murder is basically when you commit a felony and someone dies.
Yes. Okay.
So I don't know if he was like 17. I think he was 17 and he was out with his friends and someone stole like $500 from them. So they're like, we're going to go handle this, the old fashioned way. We're just going to beat this guy up. So long story short, they go to beat the guy up and someone pulls out a knife and kills the guy. Obviously horrible, heartbreaking, shouldn't have happened. But I don't think he was the one that stabbed him, and they had no intention of murdering this guy.
So from watching extensive amounts of the first 48, if you are there and if you are a part of a robbery gone bad and somebody dies, and even if you weren't the one that committed the murder, if you were there and you were a part of it, you too are charged with murder and can go away for life.
Well, that's neat.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Certain states are like that. I don't know. I maybe if you want to figure that out and do your own research, I don't know why you would need to have that information. But if you're there and you're a part of it, you're guilty as well. You're guilty by association.
So let's break this down for a second, Mo. Okay. So you and I both like our space. Mm-hmm. Okay. I've already said that marriage does not scare me. Relationships do not scare me. I just don't want to live with anybody ever again. So I just looked it up. There are 4 states that it is still legal to have conjugal visits. So California, Connecticut, Washington, and New York. So if we could do that and then live separately, I mean, is it really any different than being on the outside? I'm all for it.
I mean, but could you get over the felony murder situation?
Yeah, ain't going to hurt me. They're in there.
How often are the conjugal visits?
I'll have to do a deeper dive.
Okay. Yeah, like if you get 2 a year. I don't know if that's going to work.
So let's say if it was 2 a month, would this be a decent arrangement for you?
While enticing. I don't think so.
While the pros are there, the cons.
I do see the pros, though. I do see
cons. There's a lot of cons. A lot of convicts. All the cons.
My vote is yes. I could do it.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's going to be a no for me. But if you want to hear about how she handled it, you can check out the Breakup Breakdown wherever you get your podcast.
You want a little more space than me.
That's a lot of space.
The Bert Show.